Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay. Yeah, I wanted to make a video about this new thing that Joe Biden's administration is doing. Um, they want to put Harriet Tubman, the famous abolitionist, um, and main person, main one of the most famous conductors in the Underground Railroad, on the $20 bill. Um, and my thoughts about it. First of all, they don't want to replace the seventh president of the United States, Andrew Jackson, with Harriet Tubman. They want to put Harriet Tubman on one side and Andrew Jackson on another side. Why do I think this is both really dumb and really disrespectful to the legacy of Harriet Tubman? Well, for one, again, uh, you're not replacing Andrew Jackson with Harriet Tubman, and you're not going to wipe away the image of Andrew Jackson. So why should Harriet Tubman um, share the stage, if you will, with Andrew Jackson when Andrew Jackson was a well-known slave owner and um, and a rapist of black women like Harriet Tubman? You know what I mean? So are we gonna continue to do this dance of, like, on the one hand we honor genocidal people and we honor slave owners, while at the same time honoring those who fought um against that very practice? Secondly, the very money that they want to put Harriet Tubman on is the very money that in those days would have been used to take away her human rights, to purchase her body, you know, as a form of chattel slavery. So I don't I don't agree with taking putting on the money for this reason. I think putting on the money is a way to assuage certain activist groups and to pacify them and to calm them down. And much like electing for the first black president or the first um, black and Asian female vice president, it's just a symbolic gesture in a way to try to erase the legacy of racism and white supremacy in the country that the country was really founded on. And Andrew Jackson in particular, because this is a person, the person that's on the $20 bill now, that was one of the biggest slave owners in the state of Tennessee. This is a person who raped black women while he was a slave owner, who dehumanized black bodies, particularly black female bodies, like those of Harriet Tubman, and who also is responsible for one of the darkest affairs that we had in our country besides slavery, the Indian Removal Act of the 1830s. And also, it's kind of weird slash funny that even Andrew Jackson is on the money, because Andrew Jackson himself was against central banking. And it is the central bank and the Federal Reserve that issues um, these promissory notes that we call money. So, for more reasons than one, I think even he himself would be upset that he's on their money. But as far as Harriet Tubman being on it, no. I think it's just a symbolic gesture. It really means nothing. And in a way, it kind of disrespects her legacy, because the money and the dollar is the root of what caused slavery. Like, their desire to cultivate capital and to create empire, and the belief in manifest destiny, and the belief in white supremacy, which the dollar is symbolic of, created the system of white supremacy that um, got Harriet Tubman enslaved. So putting her on the dollar bill is sort of like building a synagogue with the name of Hitler on it. You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that? The very reason why um, this person this person existed in the circumstances that they existed in, and the stuff that they fought against, the people that she emancipated were purchased, and her herself, when she was a slave, purchased by the very dollar, the very economic system that this dollar represents, and that the system that this continues to perpetuate for people around the world that are still enslaved. You cannot mix truth with falsehood. You cannot mix oppression with freedom, or otherwise it negates the freedom. Putting Harriet Tubman on the dollar bill is low key signifying that Harriet Tubman would have been down with the oppression that the dollar bill represents. So, while I think it is important to honor a person like Harriet Tubman and the struggles that she had, putting her on the dollar bill just disrespects her in a way. But I understand why Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are doing this, because this was something that Barack Obama had put into place before he left, because I remember talks about this from like 2015, 2014, and they never did it because Trump got in and Trump was against it. The reason why Trump was against it was because, damn, it was erasing America's heritage, erasing the heritage of Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was not that great of a president. He was seen to be great at the time of his his presidency, because he represented the common man. He represented the poor people. It was because of him and because of the laws that he put in place that poor white people got enfranchised. They got the right to vote, because previous to that, we know that the founding fathers set up a system where the only people that could vote was land-owning whites. So he was seen as liberal in his day. He was seen as a person that was a frontiersman. He represented individual liberty, as I said. He fought against the central banking, central financial system that he believed that would oppress the poor. But he himself was very rich. He himself was an exploiter of people. He was an exploiter of particularly the Native Americans. He was a racist against the Native Americans and a racist against black people. So in our new understanding of our own history, we wouldn't want to honor somebody like this. So why should Harriet Tubman, somebody who doesn't have these these qualities about her, somebody that was a liberator, somebody that was for the equality of all people, and somebody that was for freedom, have to share dealing with this person who wouldn't even consider her a person in the first place had he known her because of the color of her skin. I I don't agree with that. And one thing I learned from this particular article, I'll put the article in the description box, that this wouldn't be the first time that black images are on a federal promissory note. That during the time of the Confederacy, which lasted for 5 years, they also put black images on federal promissory notes. And you're going to sit there and say that they were for black rights or black equality. They were for owning black people. They were for slavery. And I don't want to hear any arguments that the Confederacy was the Confederacy wasn't founded because of slavery, because it was, and the biography of Andrew Jackson actually points to that. The biography of Andrew Jackson points to the fact that the nullification crisis was solved in the 1830s and not the 1860s when the Civil War occurred. So anybody that's a revisionist history and believes in the lost cause, revisionist historian and believes in the lost cause myth could just go fuck themselves, because that is just that, a myth. You know, it's obvious that the Civil War was fought about slavery and about the owning of people by other people. When people say things like, oh, well, we fought, people that are Southern apologists, people say, well, we fought the Civil War for states' rights. The best way to answer this is to be like, well, excuse me, the state's right to do what exactly? What specific state rights are you, specific states' rights are you talking about? You're obviously talking about the state's rights to property, which they considered African Americans to be property at that time by virtue of the Dred Scott decision. So, if a person was considered property at the time, what's the modicum of exchange for property? Is money. So putting Harriet Tubman on the money is completely disrespectful, because in a hypothetical sense, people would have used the very money that her face is going to be pictured on to purchase her as a slave. If you don't see how that's a slap in the face to her legacy, I don't know what to tell you. Peace, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll put the article below in the description box.